Hi, everybody. I'm going to tell you a little about what I do and how it affects the conversation topic. I work for a company called GeniusRocket, and we have a very unique model that we think is fairly groundbreaking. What we do is we produce TV and online content, but we do it through a creative crowd, online. It's all online. And how this works is that people apply to be part of our community. And it's a tough community to be part of, and so I can safely say that we have some of the most talented people in the country. Because of all the applicants since we started this, only 6% make it into the community. Now, I can say that. I can say that they are some of the most talented, but what we are really trying to find is the most creative. And what do I mean by creative? Creativity specifically in the context of advertising. We're talking about ads. We're talking about campaigns. We're not talking about art. We're not talking about sculptures and paintings and frescoes that go into museums. We're talking about advertising. And what's interesting with advertising is the relationship between the client and the creative. Because in advertising, the client drives the creativity. The creatives produce the content, but the client deems it a success. And what I mean by that is, when you're talking about traditional advertising, we're talking about campaigns that sell a product, that make you want to donate to a cause, that make you want to vote for a candidate. That's what we're talking about. So the client, in the end, decides whether it's a success. And what do I mean by that? What's their measurement? Well, their measurement is essentially sales in a broad idea. Did you buy that product? Did you vote for that candidate? Did you donate to that cause? So when it's all said and done, are you, the creative team, going to be invited back because you were the most creative? So it's a sense of, were you good enough to get that return business? And so what clients have done in the world of advertising has essentially set up this type of meritocracy, their own form of meritocracy. Now, what do I mean by meritocracy? Meritocracy in its purest form suggests that the best will always rise to the top. That those who create good content will always be the ones to continue to do it. But that's meritocracy, its purest form. We know that's not true. I mean, in life in general, specifically, across everything you've ever done, how often is it the person who did the best job that's always promoted? So when we're talking about success in advertising, we're not talking about popularity, just to be clear. And I put this one ad up there, for example. Now, this is an ad from the late 60s. It's not your father's Oldsmobile. It has transcended time. Many of you probably have heard this campaign. By that definition of popularity, it was a success. By the definition in advertising, it was not, because sales actually went down. It was not a successful campaign that resulted in the success of the product. So it's not about popularity, it's about what the client deems to be successful. And meritocracy suggests that because you did a good job, you will be brought back again. But the point is, that is not the case. It more often is about, who do you know? Who's your connection? Where did you work last? Where did you go to school? The back deals, behind the back room negotiations, that's what drives creativity. That's what drives the creative team to get the next job. And that's essentially nepotism. Nepotism is everywhere. Nepotism is part of the world we live in. We're in Washington, D.C. But when nepotism is based on the fact that it's all about who you know, not what you've accomplished, it is essentially the enemy of creativity. It's the enemy of, where am I going to get the best ideas? Where am I going to get the most creative insights? The whole different perspective, rather than just going to the same place. And creativity, in fighting nepotism, specifically in a creative community, has an ally from a fairly unlikely place, and that's technology. Now, technology is not always a friend of creativity. The first example that popped into my head was what Photoshop did to the creativity of the darkroom. Who knows what, say, Instagram is going to do to the professional photography sort of perspective. Technology is not always something that they say, well, this is going to help creativity. Specifically, the technology that I'm talking about is crowdsourcing. And before that term sort of blew up, crowdsourcing in its first evolution was not a friend of creativity. Because the first evolution of crowdsourcing came out as contests. And at its core, it was trying to do the right thing. It was trying to eliminate nepotism by this overall meritocracy, but the mistake it made is that it decided that anyone could participate. And when you open it up to anyone and everyone, the numbers are so large that the first thing it went to was spec work. It asked very talented people to work for free with no guarantee of compensation. So while at its root, it might have been trying to solve the problem of nepotism in creativity, in advertising, it was failing. Because when you're asking talented people to work for free, the professionals do not get involved. So what you end up with is a pool of amateurs, and this, I'm not going to argue, there are plenty of examples of where this has worked fine for small mom and pops looking for $200 logos. But we're talking about real advertising campaigns. When you are trying to support a cause, when you're trying to support a candidate, or even sell a product. And crowdsourcing, in its first iteration, wasn't doing that. It was actually a failure for both sides of the equation, because creatives were all of a sudden being asked to work for free. So the best creatives weren't participating. For clients, they were now forced to look at this mass of information. Now, in design, sometimes it's, let's just take logos. It's kind of where most people go when they hear the word crowdsourcing. 400 or 500 logos. For video content, maybe it's 100, 200 submissions. Now, if you're a client and you're asked to look at 100, 200 one-minute ads from amateurs across the globe, it's a daunting task. And it's not a successful process. And it doesn't bring the best creative. For the creative themselves, they're asked to spend their hard-earned time, their own capital, to create content for free in a winner-take-all model. So crowdsourcing was not the solution as best intended as it might have been. So then came the second evolution of crowdsourcing, something that we call curated crowdsourcing. And it was based upon the principle that let's form a community that invites only the most talented. The people who have proven themselves already based upon their skill set and their talent. Not based on who they know or where they went to school, but based upon their ability that they have already proven and their ability to come to any particular creative task from a fresh perspective. And so we built this community based upon going out and taking advantage of basically the underutilized creatives of the United States and the globe. And it's not the idea of, let's go to LA and find the most popular and the ones that everyone's using. Let's go find the best talent from around the country. The ones that might have been overlooked by the establishment, because their model, we already know, is based upon nepotism. It's based upon who you know. And allow clients to get a fresh perspective by putting them into a creative community where everyone is safe. We're talking about taking that idea of thousands down to maybe a dozen with a specific talent. So when you take that model, all of a sudden the client can rest assured that who they are turning to has the ability to bring great ideas to life. So they all of a sudden have the benefit. On the creative side, you know you're going to get compensated for your work, which allows professionals to get involved. And now you know that you have the freedom of creative experimentation. You know you have the ability to take this goal set by the client and go at it in a totally unique way. Because what they want is that fresh perspective, and what they want is talent. They don't want to take risks, because this is their brand, this is their job, this is their career maybe for a candidate. This is their fun. This is important for them. So all of a sudden, you have an online community of incredibly talented people that are based upon their skill and their merit and their ability to deliver great and creative ideas. And it doesn't have to do with who they know, where they are, or where they've gone to school. It's based upon their ability to create amazing quality creative. So now what we've done is we've set up technology excuse me, to support pure and fresh creative thinking and take it online. So the idea is, does it work? Now, we're a small firm. We're here in DC, and I'll give you an example of how I feel sort of personifies how this is a success. We had an international advertising campaign approach us from a major manufacturer of music equipment. And they came to us and they said, we want something that has a music video vibe to it. So what do? We look across our community of over 400 production companies, animation houses, writers, and we say, who in this community has proven themselves with the talent to come up with ideas in this theme? It's not open to everybody. First of all, the community is curated. Then we curate within that community to say who has already proven their ability. And so what they've done is they go to this small community, and I'll fast forward to how it turns out. The company that was selected with the best ideas, with the best production, was a production company out of Nashville, Tennessee. Now this is a company based out of New York. They would have never looked in Nashville, Tennessee. And this was taking advantage of the underutilization of this company. And they happen to be probably one of the premier music video companies in country music. They would have never met this client. So we've given them an opportunity to earn more income, and we've given the client the ability to bring in a fresh perspective. And it's all based upon their creative ideas and their ability to bring that creative idea to light, and it had nothing to do with who they knew, where they went to school, or any backroom negotiation that took place. It was based 100% on their creativity. And that's how technology in an online community can actually defeat nepotism. Thank you very much.